It is good to see you again. Bellator 301 is what we're here to break down today. So grab your notebooks and let's get this class started. Real quick, you can find me on Twitter, Tapology, all that stuff at 138MMA. Get access to all my notes on patreon.com/138MMA, as well as my top 5 bets, Patreon parlay, and any other additional content that I decide to put on there. We're not going to waste any more time. Let's get to that first fight right away. Featherweight matchup here. Yves Landu taking on Isaev Kobayashi. Kobayashi is 5-0 in his last 5 fights with a very lengthy career. He's taking on Yves Landu, who's 4-1 in his last 5. It's a good matchup. I'm going to break these guys down real quick. So Kobayashi, he's a good grappler. He's got good trips. That's how he usually gets his opponents to the mat. He's got good scrambles, and he's very good at getting out of submissions, even once they seem to be fully applied. He's very good there. In the striking, lots of volume, good clean straight shots, and good kicks. For Landu, he's a good kickboxer. In fact, that's his best weapon by far, is his kickboxing. He's got good lateral movement. He stays kind of light on those toes. Got a lot of zip on his straight shots. Those are his best weapons on the feet. And he can do so from either stance. He can throw those clean straights. He is a bit wild at times, but it seems to work for him. So I didn't really know whether to put it as a positive or a negative, because it does seem to work for him, but it's definitely like odd, right? His grappling, he's got good submission defense. He does get taken down, so it's good that he has that, but he's got really good sweeps. So he's good at like reversing the position once he's on the bottom, things like that. I originally, when I looked at this matchup, was on the side of Landu. He's come through for us before. We've picked him before. But I think at the odds as with an underdog in Kobayashi, it's a close fight. I think I'm just going to lean Kobayashi, but I don't think I have enough conviction on this one to pull the trigger. I'd like to see how this one plays out before I, feel like I can trust him in the future. Level of competition, it's hit or miss. But I'm going to lean Kobayashi here. I think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to be able to mix in the trips, do well enough in the striking, and just kind of do enough to put the fight where he wants it more often than not. So Kobayashi's the pick. But let me know who you have. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next fight. We have the undefeated Kuramagomedov. He is taking on Wallace in the welterweight division. Both guys are 5-0 in their last 5 fights. And this one should be interesting. We're going to start on the Wallace side. He's got good wrestling, good takedowns, top control. Ground and pound is aggressive, and he's going to attack submissions as they open up. He's a very much a finisher when he gets this to the mat. That's what he wants to do. His primary objective is wrestling, ground and pound, and submissions just right away. That's what he wants. Aggressive forward pressure on the feet. He's got decent striking. It's kind of unorthodox. It more or less sets up that wrestling, because he is a wrestler at heart. That's what he's going for most of the time, and he's going to look to get the finish as soon as he gets it to the mat. He is probably the more aggressive fighter out of the two here. For Kuramagomedov, he's got good wrestling as well. He's got solid takedowns, very strong top pressure, but he's sometimes just kind of content to stay there and just smother his opponents. And he'll take the submissions as he just wears on his opponents from top control and just kind of landing enough to keep the fight on the ground, but not really do any heavy damage, at least most of the time. That's kind of where he's at, right? In the striking, he's got good lateral movement. He's got decent striking, but it's mostly just kind of the kicks from range until he can set up that takedown. He'll throw like a 1-2 and shoot, something like that, but his striking is definitely not his go-to either. In this one here, I've got to go with Kuramagomedov to probably be able to get the control time, rack up enough to get the win. But Wallace is a live dog just by the way that he fights. He makes things kind of chaotic, and in chaotic situations in MMA, sometimes things happen. But I do think Kuramagomedov is going to be able to control him for the majority of the fight and probably get the win on the scorecards. So for me, Kuramagomedov is the pick, but let me know who you have. And featherweight, we have Cody Law taking on the undefeated Jefferson Pontes. Pontes 5-0 in the last 5, 3-2 for Cody Law. Let's start on the Pontes side. He's got good striking, leg kicks being probably his best weapon, especially in this matchup anyway. Got pretty good combinations. Grappling's there. He's going to attack submissions. He's a good scrambler, things like that. There's not a ton to go off of his 6-0, obviously, but he does seem to have the skills that he's been putting together. The level of competition at 6-0 is just kind of like, all right. So it's hard to really get the best gauge, but that's what we've got. For Cody Law, on the other hand, yes, he's only 7-2, so not that many more fights, but he's been fighting Bellator, which is where you get a little bit better sample size. He's got good takedowns, good wrestling in general, good top control. The boxing's pretty good combinations there. The problem is there's a lot of boxing and not a ton of MMA-style strike. He throws a lot of boxing combinations, this boxing stuff, which is going to leave him open to the leg kicks here. A lot of boxers end up planting that lead leg when they throw heavy shots. I think that's what's going to happen here. Cody Law has done pretty well in Bellator, but he's kind of underperformed in certain matchups, and I think this matchup might be one of those chances. For Pontes, to get the victory over a guy with a decently established name in Cody Law. So for me, I'm taking Pontes to get the win. I think he's going to use the leg kicks to slow down the movement of Law, maybe get some grappling going of his own in a scramble. Takedown from Cody Law after his legs getting a little compromised. It doesn't come with as much force. Pontes scrambles, gets on top, you get some control time, things like that. So for me, I'm going to take Pontes. It's a close one. Cody Law sometimes does better or worse than you expect him to. So this kind of just is a good measuring stick for both fighters. But Pontes is my pick. Let me know who you have. Bantamweight's up next. Mattos takes on Richard Palencia. Palencia, only one loss on the career. He's 4-1 in the last 5. His only loss did come at with that leg injury in the second round of the Hamilton fight. It happens. It's an MMA fight. You can get injured. So there you go. For Mattos, he's only got 2 losses on his career, both of which to some of the highest level competition, but they happen to come in his last 5. So he's 3-2. Both these guys are very skilled. In fact, I went back and forth on this fight quite a bit, so let's break it down. On the Palencia side, he's a solid grappler. He's got great transitions on the ground. He's a good scrambler. He's going to chain his submission attempts together. Although he ends up going to decision a lot, the submission attempts help him get those transitions, help him get some sweeps, things like that. He's got good top control. The single leg is probably his best takedown. I could be wrong on that. I went back and forth, but I do think it's his best takedown. And he's very hard to get rid of on the mat. I've seen him in some bad positions briefly, and he's able to use his submission defense to get out, get to his own grappling offense. On the feet, the overhand is set up by his takedown entry. Lands pretty good shot like that. He closes distance with flurries, where he'll often start with the backside, throw that cross into which is now a cross because he'll step through, boom, boom, come back with those shots, use that to get in and close that distance, go for that single, whatever he needs to do. Does a good job there. His grappling is definitely his best weapon, though. On the other side, Mattos. Mattos is a solid grappler as well. Guy's got very good scrambles. He's incredibly hard to hold down. His ground and pound is nasty. And he uses chokes as kind of his second option, whether it be the guillotine, rear naked choke, whatever. He's going to go to those second. If the ground and pound isn't doing it, and he realizes you're just covering up and doing just enough to not get out of there, then he'll go to the choke. But he'd rather pound your face in it, at least from what I've seen. Submission defense is there as well. He's been in some bad spots, fought out, very good. It's going to be hard for either guy to get the submission in this one. I think both guys are very skilled grapplers, so let's put it that way. On the striking, Mattos comes forward with some serious pressure, and he has a very violent style. He's got a lot of volume, a lot of power. He uses combinations, but he's also got these flying knees that he'll just throw and land very well. So whether he lands the flying knee or just lands in the pocket and just goes right back into it, it's very impressive. He'll work the body very well, and he's got great cardio. For me, this one came down to the striking difference, because in the grappling, this is super close. But I think Mattos is going to be the better striker by just a little bit, with probably a little bit better cardio. So for me, I'm going with Mattos. I know the last 5. You look at that, you say 3-2. It's not the greatest, but like I said, he's only lost to some of the best in the world. So we're going to go with Mattos. Let me know who you have, and I'll see you guys. The women's flyweights here. We have Carrie Taylor Melendez, and pardon me as I probably butchered this name, Shabliy Sangul. We're going to go with that. Sangul is 3-2 in her last 5. Obviously 5-0 in the last 5 from Melendez. She's 5-0 in the career. So there you go. Both ladies are kickboxers, is their primary style anyway. For Sangul, she's got good kickboxing. She's really light on the toes, just kind of does that hopping in and out type of thing. Kind of like when you don't touch the controller and you're playing one of them old Mortal Kombat games. She does that a lot in her fights. And then she throws that 1-2, boom, boom, and then comes right back, okay? That's her game on the feet. She's got good trips from the clinch as well. When she gets in there, she'll use that leg, those Thai-style sweeps, or trips, Does a good job there. But she's primarily a kickboxer, okay? For Melendez, she's got solid kickboxing as well. She's got good kicks. She could put together good combinations. She's got good counter striking. She's probably the better kickboxer here, but she doesn't have as good a movement. So I'll give the movement to Sangul, but Taylor Melendez definitely is probably the better overall kickboxer, in my opinion. She does have good Thai clinch as well. Her skipping knees are just quick and money. I do like those a lot. She's solid there. Grappling, she has enough grappling that when it's kickboxer versus kickboxer, she's a good grappler, right? And she gets a lot of club and subs. She's had 2 of them in her 5 fights because, well, she's got good striking. So when she drops people, she's quick to attack the sub after dropping them. I think this is a matchup where you got to take the Carrie Taylor Melendez side, but there's just not a lot of film to go off of, obviously, so it's not the most confident pick on the card, but I do think she has all the paths to victory here. I think she's the one that Bellator wants to see win as well. So I'm going with Kerry Taylor Melendez. Let me know who you have, and I'll see you in the next flyweight division. Juliana Velasquez takes on Paula Cristina. Both ladies are 3-2 in the last 5. Velasquez trying to come back after those 2 back-to-back losses to the champion, Liz Carmouche. No shame there. Carmouche is an absolute animal. So for Velasquez, it happens. You're fighting the champion. But does she still have that fire to climb back to the top of the mountain, through the ranks, and get to another title shot? Or did she lose a little something there when she fought the champion? Paula Cristina, she's 3-2 in her last 5 as well, but she's the much younger fighter here. She's 28 years old as opposed to the 37 of Velasquez. So this is an interesting fight, right? For Cristina, good striker. She's got good leg kicks particularly, and she'll stick to them throughout the fight. She does a lot of things that I like and dislike at the same time. She's very herky-jerky on the feet, kind of makes it hard to really know where she's coming from, but you can also get her to kind of be stuck somewhere when you throw. Just depends on how you time her movements and stuff. She will swing wild when she has an opponent hurt. I do like that she wants to go for that kill, go for the finish, but the problem is she gets a little wild, and if she just tighten things up a little bit like she was prior to hurting her opponents, she'll more likely get that finish that way. So I like and dislike these things. One thing I don't like is she's willing to let her opponent go first more often than not, and that's a problem. Hopefully she's corrected that for her sake. Now, for Velasquez, she's more of the grappler, but she is a decent striker. She's got good kicks. That's her best weapon on the feet, but she's better in the grappling, especially in this matchup, okay? She's got good cage push, lots of control there. She's got good top pressure once she gets on top of her opponents, and she's hard to take down herself. Now, Carmouche was able to do that. Carmouche is one of the best women fighters on the planet. I know that she's not in the UFC. She could be in the top 5 in the UFC. I don't care what anybody says. Now, in this one here, I've got to lean Velasquez because I do think that she has enough of the skills left and hopefully enough desire to get this one done. I think she's going to beat Paula Cristina. But then again, we've seen people go to the top, get there. Dominic Reyes is a great example, and then just after not getting it, never be the same. So I don't know. I'm going to lean Velasquez. Maybe I'll pass on this one. Let me know who you have. It's Archie Colgan fight week. We're in the lightweight division. He takes on Peter Buist. Buist is 2-3 in his last 5, and he's looked pretty good, right? Dude's got good striking, uses his range well, good combinations. Sure, he's 2-3 in the last 5, but he's still a skilled fighter. Good grappling. He uses his length because he's a pretty lanky guy to wrap up limbs, and he's very active from his back. But the problem is, he's fighting Archie Colgan. Archie Colgan's an absolute savage. This dude's got strong wrestling, and he picks dudes up, slams them to the mat like a madman, ground and pounds their face through the canvas. On the feet, he's got super powerful striking, incredibly fast hands. His one drawback is he throws a lot of single shots, but I think it's because they're so quick and so powerful that there's no sense in following it up with another shot because the other guy's head's already gone. So for me, this is easy. Archie Colgan is going to run through this poor man, and I feel bad for him because Archie Colgan's just an animal. Let's go, Archie Colgan. See you guys in the next 60-pound catch weight next. We have Islam Mamedov. He's taking on Mota. Both guys are 3-2 in their last 5. Both guys have fought pretty tough level of competition in Bellator thus far. For Mota, dude's got slick Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's going to use his ground and pound to set up the transitions, and I do really like that a lot. He's got good control when he's on top. His takedowns are pretty darn good, and he's very much position over submission. He doesn't do anything super risky when he gets top control. He'll take the submission if you give it to him, of course, but he's looking for control. He's looking to use that ground and pound to get to a more advantageous, control-heavy position. That's what he does with the Jiu-Jitsu. Now on the striking, he's got good striking. The combinations are there, but the leg kicks are his best weapon, especially in a matchup like this. As long as he doesn't get him caught, that is. His leg kicks, if he can slow down the movement of his opponents with those leg kicks, it starts to open up the hands, and that's where he can start getting his own takedowns as well and get on top and win minutes. Now, Islam Mamedov, dude's a solid grappler, right? He's very efficient. He looks for the takedown, gets the takedown, and just has very strong top control. That's what he's looking to do. It's similar. Both guys are going to be position over submission, of course. He's going to look to get that control, and he's going to look to win minutes there. In the striking, he's got a very long, rangy 1-2, and that's what he does a lot, but he starts from here, right? He's got his left hand out front directing traffic and the right hand ready to go loaded. He's doing this because then he can go for the takedown quick like right here without having to, really reach. He's already out, but he can also clinch up, pull to the body lock, stuff like that. And it keeps his opponent at bay and helps him find a range, right? That's what he wants to do. He does a very good job at staying patient on the feet, but sometimes that's a problem because if you're too patient, you're not winning. But he's looking for the takedown, so it makes sense for him. He does a good job at that. Just 1-2, okay, cool. Patient. Looks for his spot, goes for the takedown. For me, I've got to side with Islam Mamedov, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mota got this one. This is a fun fight. The 160-pound catch weight, though, I think does favor Mamedov, so that's where I'm going to go. Let me know who you have, though. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the flyweight action up next. We have Denise Kielholtz taking on Sumiko Inaba. Inaba's undefeated at 6-0 currently in her career, so 5-0 in the last 5. Although facing the much higher level of competition, the 5-on-in does not look as impressive for Kielholtz. She's 2-3 in her last 5 fights. Let's look at Inaba here. She's a solid kickboxer. She's very quick with her strikes, and she puts together good combinations. When she does get taken down, she's going to work back to her feet. For her, she's facing another kickboxer, so the threat of grappling isn't going to be super high. Kielholtz is a solid kickboxer as well. She's got good combinations. She counter strikes very well, and she's very accurate under fire. So when her opponent's coming back, throwing shots at her, she can see that, counter that strike, even if she's having to dodge out of the way and come back with something. She's still very accurate in her striking, so that's impressive. She's got good takedown defense as well. The whizzer is her go-to. Her fight IQ, though, has cost her fights in the past, and that 7-5 could be a lot better if that fight IQ is just a little bit better. Honestly, in this one, though, give me the upset win here for Kielholtz. I think she's the better kickboxer. I really do. And I think that's what we're going to get. But if this goes to decision, don't be surprised if we get a decision going on the Inaba side, even if Kielholtz wins by a little bit. So for Kielholtz, she's going to need to make this very obvious. She's going to have to put her stamp on the rounds. But I'm going to take Kielholtz. Haven't decided if I'm going to bet it or not because I'm worried about the robbery there. But Kielholtz is the pick. Let me know who you have, and I'll see you in the next lightweight bout. And actually, right before I decided to turn this on, I've switched my pick on this one. So I'm going to break this down, and then you're gonna hear who I'm on now. But I was on the other guy up until a few minutes ago, so bear with me. It's a close fight. We have Tim Wilde taking on Mike Hamel. Now, 4-1 for Hamel in the last 5 fights. Sure, 11-5 on the career. You're like, oh, man, okay. That's not that good, but he's been doing well lately. For 4-0-1 for Wilde, he's got that draw in there. 4 wins. So both guys doing pretty good in their last 5. The height and reach is for Wilde here at 5'11 with a 74-inch reach as opposed to 5'9 with a 68-inch reach for Hamel. Both guys tend to prefer to strike, although I would say the wrestling advantage is on the side of Hamel, but he uses it more defensively nowadays, and it's worked out for him, honestly. I mean, look at him. He's 4-1 in his last 5. But he does have good takedown defense. So does Wilde. We're basically going to break down the striking because I think that's where this is going to take place. If someone is to start implementing the wrestling, it's most likely going to be Hamel. Now, anyway, for Wilde, good striking, good forward pressure, good combinations. He's got this style where he's willing to eat one to give one, and he can kind of get caught chasing guys down trying to do that. But he's incredibly durable, and as he's making you back up, he's wearing you out with that, and he's just putting volume in there, combinations, things like that. So Wilde's kind of a tough guy to fight against just by the way that he fights. But eventually that durability is going to crack, and he's fighting a guy in Mike Hamel who's very powerful, and he's got good forward pressure of his own. He's got a good leg kick, a very, very damaging leg kick. So if you're walking forward and you get kicked in the leg, that's going to take that leg out from under you and it's going to cause some damage. He's very dangerous in the pocket, but his problem is he starts to swing really wild when he gets excited. So if he's got a guy hurt or if he's starting to land something, he'll start to swing really wild and he can be wide open for counters and get caught there. Originally, I was on Hamel. I was. But I've switched. I'm now taking Wilde. The reason I'm taking Wilde, I think he's going to be able to use the range to land first. I think when it comes to the forward pressure, I think because he can land first, he's going to be able to get his forward pressure going. And I think we're going to have a close fight. And I think he's just going to be able to land a little bit more of the damaging shots throughout the fight and get the win in a decision. But it is close. This is a really close fight. This one might be one you kick your feet up on the coffee table, crack open a nice cold root beer, and have a good time watching it. So for me, Tim Wilde's the pick. Razor thin fight. Let me know what you have, and I'll see you in the matchup next. Timur Khizriev takes on Justin Gonzales. This is a good fight right here, guys. We've got Gonzales 3-2 in his last 5. Obviously 5-0 for Khizriev because he's 13-0 on the career. Gonzales is a tough out for anybody because he's very well-rounded. He's a tough striker and a tough grappler. He's got good wrestling. He's got a good sprawl to stuff the takedowns, which he's going to need in this one. And if he does get to the mat with you, he's a good back taker. In the striking, he's got a very heavy jab. He throws this jab like he's trying to hurt you, not just like he's trying to land punches and set up his cross. No, he's trying to throw heavy jabs. He's got a very damaging leg kick with either leg. He can throw it off the lead, off the rear, and he can throw it to either leg of his opponent. And he puts every single thing he has in his punches, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Because when he hits you, you know about it, but the problem is it can set him up to be just a little bit off balance. Because when you're throwing too much into a shot, well, if you don't land it, you're off balance. He's got Khizriev over here, who's a solid wrestler. He's got very good top control. Once he gets you down to the mat, his body lock takedown is what he's going to go to, but he can chain takedowns together and makes it tough for people to defend those. He's got decent striking. His movement on the feet is probably his best thing that he's got because on the feet he's not a great striker, but he does well enough at range with his movement, and then he has that overhand that's set up by the takedown threat. Realistically, in this fight, Gonzales has a shot on the feet, but I do think Khizriev is going to be able to get the takedown at some point. Probably off an off-balance shot from Gonzales if he misses one. Khizriev gets out of the way, gets in with the takedown, gets a body lock, whatever it is. I'm going to say Khizriev is able to grind out 3 rounds, get a decision here. Gonzales is tough as nails. I think he's going to be able to survive. It's a good fight, but I think Khizriev gets it done. Let me know who you have, and I will see you in the next one. I just realized I haven't nagged you to like the video yet. So for those of you that have already done it, thank you guys. I really appreciate you looking out for me, helping the channel grow. Thank you so much. Now, if you haven't, maybe you just needed a reminder, no big deal. Scroll on down, hit that like button for me, and let's break down this fight. We have a heavyweight matchup between Marcelo Golm. He's taking on Tyrell Fortune. Now, Tyrell Fortune, he's 3-2 in the last 5. He's had a bit of a weird run in his career as of late. Just kind of odd, if you know what I mean. If you watch his fights, you know what I mean. Either way. Golm's 4-1 in the last 5. That's a bit misleading, but we're going to get into that. Golm, he's a decent grappler, decent top game. He's a decent striker. Basically, he's just going to come forward and eat shots until he can wear you out and land some of his own. Kind of a zombie almost. For Fortune, high-level wrestling, chain wrestles very well. Once he gets you to the mat, he controls your legs. He's very quick in the scrambles. Decent striking. He's just pretty heavy-handed. Honestly, Fortune should get this one done. I think this is a big step down in competition, and I'm pretty low on Marcelo Golm. I don't think he's as good as people thought he was. I was very much against him in his last fight. A lot of people were on the Golm side, and I thought they were silly. Well, guess what? They were wrong. I was right. Golm's not that good. I think Fortune gets it done. Let me know who you have. I hate to say somebody's not that good that's competing at this level with a 10-4 record, but he just doesn't do anything that is impressive. I don't know. Give me Tyrell Fortune. Let me know who you have. I'll see you in the next fight. Daniel James takes on Ali Isaev. Isaev is 4-0-1 in his last 5 fights. He is undefeated on the career, but he's coming off that draw to Steve Mowry. For Daniel James, he's 4-1 in the last 5. He's going to have a pretty substantial height and reach advantage here. He's 6'6" with an 80-inch reach as opposed to 6'3", 75.5-inch reach for Isaev. Something I want to note. Isaev's had 1 fight in the last, I don't know, really long time. He pulls out of a ton of fights, right? So then when he comes back, he gets in that draw with Steve Mowry. It gives me some red flags, but he did look all right at times in there. I don't know. I worry about a guy like Isaev because of that. But he's a very physically strong fighter. He's got solid wrestling, good takedowns, top control as well. And when he gets on top, he likes to posture with one hand and just wing these big, powerful ground and pound shots. He does a good job with it, right? Striking, it's decent. He's got good power, and he actually has a really nice spinning heel kick. But he doesn't do a lot else in the feet other than just throw a big heavy hand, big heavy overhand or big heavy looping hook, and that spinning heel kick, which is weird at heavyweight. But he does a good job with it. Pretty good fighter, but like I said, inconsistent in pulling out fights. I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, I know how I feel, and I don't like it. Either way, Daniel James, decent boxing. Basically, he's kind of wild on the feet, but he's got a really clean jab, and he works really well off it. He can stick that jab over and over. He's powerful, and like I said, he's wild at the rest of his strikes. Good wrestling, though. He can push guys up against the cage and just grind on them and win minutes there. And he's got fantastic heavyweight cardio. This is a guy that at heavyweight can just keep that pace going for an entire 15 minutes without really slowing down. I think that's going to do it. I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this pick. A lot of people are going to be commenting and saying, oh, you're overlooking Isaev because blah, 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 whatever. I understand. I'm not going to bet on Daniel James, but I think Daniel James is going to get it done. I'm just going to watch this one as a fan and hope I get my pick right. Daniel James is the pick. I think he's going to grind it out to a decision. He'll probably lose the first round, win the second and the third, or even get a late finish in the fight. Daniel James is my pick. You can hate me in the comments if you want, but I'll see you in the next. Really solid matchup at 155 pounds next. We have AJ McKee taking on Sydney Outlaw. Real quick, I just want to send a nice appreciative thank you to all the channel members, all of you that are just doing the $2.99 a month thing to help me get more markers, better lighting, better camera equipment, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys. It's only $2.99, and the folks that are doing it, it does go a long way, even though it's such a small amount. In mass, you guys build up more, and it helps me out. Thank you guys so much. Let's break down this fight. AJ McKee, 4-1 in the last 5. Sydney Outlaw, 3-2. Now, for Sydney Outlaw, he's very much a grappler first, right? He's got solid grappling, good takedowns. He's going to chain wrestle with those takedowns. He's got very good top control, but when he gets to the back, that's where he's at his best, and he is a rear naked choke specialist. So, in the striking, it's basically just set up by his grappling because he's looking to grapple as much as possible, and the striking is opened up by that because if you've got a guy that's always looking for takedowns, you're worried about that, so the hands get opened up in the process. He is a grappler first, though, and that's where we're at. Now, for AJ McKee, he's very well-rounded, right? He's a solid grappler in his own right. He's got slick transitions. He can sweep from the back. He's very active from his back looking for submissions there. He's quick to attack the chokes because he's got them long, lean choking arms. He slips it right under the neck. You know what's up. He's got good takedowns of his own. In the striking, I think he's going to be the better striker, and I don't think that's crazy to say. He's pretty much a sniper at range with these long, straight shots, these kicks, and he's incredibly accurate when he does that. He's got good movement, and he keeps the fight at his range, and he's incredibly durable if he does get cracked. We've seen him get hit a few times in the past, and he just doesn't drop. Or if he does drop, he bounces right back. He's very durable, very tough. He's also good in the tie clinch. I didn't have enough room to write that, plus it looks like I'm just over-talking A.J. McKee. But either way, I think A.J. McKee gets it done, and I got a lot of flack for picking against City Outlaw last time. Everybody said I overlooked him, and I did. He proved me wrong. He got his win, but A.J. McKee's going to be just a little bit too tough for him. The guy's fantastic. His only loss coming to Patricio Pitbull in a matchup that it was good, right? It was a close fight. I'm going to take McKee. Let me know who you have, though. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below, even if you don't agree with my pick, and I'll see you in the next one. We get a rematch in the bantamweight division. Rafion Stots takes on Danny Sabatello. Now, 4-1 in the last 5 for Stots, 3-2 for Sabatello. Here's the deal, though. This last fight, it did go to split decision, but it shouldn't have. Stots clearly won the fight. There's a bad judge. Gave somehow, pretty much, I think it was every round to Sabatello, which is insane. Stots clearly won the fight. I don't know. Shouldn't have been a split, but we're getting the rematch to settle it, right? Danny Sabatello, he's a very strong wrestler. He's going to chain his takedowns together. He's relentless. He's got very good top control, good scrambles. He doesn't really do much damage. He doesn't really look for the finish. Now, I understand in his last win, he got the submission, the rear naked choke, I believe it was, over Breno. It looks like he's taking a step in the right direction. Breno and Stots are a big difference in competition. Stots is a very tough out for anybody. The striking of Sabatello still needs a ton of work. He just doesn't do it very much. He's pretty much going to wrestle exclusively. When it comes to Stots, he's a high-level wrestler in his own right, which makes it tough for Stots here. He's got good takedown defense. He's got a good sprawl. He scrambles well. He's got good sweeps from his back. He's got excellent timing on his own takedowns, and if he gets on your back, you're stuck there. His striking's pretty solid as well. He's got deceptive range. He has a very long wingspan for a guy his size. He's got a good jab, good head kick. The one problem is he does throw just a lot of single shots, but his striking is so much better than Sabatello that I think that on the feet is going to be definitely Stots. In the grappling, it's close. Stots is going to get this one done again. I feel very confident in him. I think Stots should be the rightful favorite. I don't know what the odds are on it, but Stots, he beat him clearly in the first fight. The split decision was misleading. I'm going with Rafion Stots. But let me know who you have in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next fight. Patricky Pitbull takes on Alexander Shabliy. 5-0 in the last 5 for Shabliy. 2-3 for Pitbull, which is strange because he was just the champion not that long ago. But now he's 2-3 in his last 5. When we look at Shabliy, he's got strong grappling, large toolbox. He's got really good trips to get the fight to the mat, and he's going to attack submissions when he gets there. His striking is solid as well. He's got deadly kicks. Those kicks are absolutely brutal, and he will drop you. He's an aggressive striker. He can counter as well. Tons of power. And the cross from the takedown setup is his best move. He has, or not his best move necessarily, but it's one of his better moves. I do like it quite a bit. It's something that he gets guys open because they drop the hands and that cross comes in. Looks great. On the other side, Patricky Pitbull. Dude's a solid striker. He doesn't get enough credit for his striking because he's got a very fast jab and a solid leg kick. He's got a lot of power. He's knocked out 17 of his 25 wins. He's got 17 knockouts there. That's pretty solid. He's a good counter striker as well. Oftentimes what he'll do is just counter with a flurry of hooks, both high and low. He'll go body and head. It just mixes it up. That's his style. He likes to pressure guys with strikes as well and get them to try to shoot a takedown. And as soon as they do, he throws that knee up the middle. That's his best way to go because he's got good takedown defense. So even if he throws that knee and it's not successful, he's quick to defend the takedown. And he does use his jiu-jitsu pretty well defensively if he does get taken down. So this one's going to be interesting. I think Shabliy's just the guy. I think he's going to get it done. I don't think Patricky Pitbull has the skills on the feet to keep up with a guy like Shabliy. And I think if he gets to the mat, Shabliy's going to be a step ahead there too. So for me, Alexander Shabliy is the pick. Patricky does have that power in his hands, so there is the potential knockout on the Pitbull side. I just don't see it here. But let me know who you have. I love hearing from you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bantamweights, we have Sergio Pettis taking on Patchy Mix for all the gold. Both guys are 5-0 in their last 5 fights. And hey, just a quick reminder, if you haven't done it already, like this video. It helps the channel out a lot, helps me grow. If nobody watches these videos, then we don't make content. So help me reach more people. Hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps the channel quite a bit. Let's go ahead and break down this fight. Like I said, both guys are 5-0 in their last 5. Both guys want to make the claim as the best bantamweight in Bellator. For Patchy Mix, he's got a height and reach advantage, 5'11", 71.5-inch reach. Pettis, 5'6", with a 69-inch reach. Now, the reach advantage is negated a little bit because Pettis got some freakishly long arms for a guy that's 5'6". But either way, that's where we're at. For Patchy Mix, dude's got a high-level grappling, and he's going to look for the body lock takedown in most of his fights, but he's going to chain wrestle. when he goes to get these takedowns, he's hard to reverse, hard to take down himself, but he's looking for the body lock. Once he gets that, he gets you to the mat and then tries to lock on the body triangle. He's all about getting that control first, and then he's going to start working for those submissions. He's got one of the best guillotines in all of Bellator, and he does a very good job at setting it up. He does a very good job at getting it from multiple positions, whether he's on top or bottom. Does fantastic there, right? For striking, it's developing. He's not going to be the better striker in this matchup. I'm going to tell you that right now. But his grappling threat does set up the strikes. He does throw a lot of single shots, which is a problem. But the front kick and the knee up the middle, because he's so long and lanky, that front kick has a good range on it, and that knee up the middle, when opponents are coming in to land on him, it gets to the chin quick. Because at 135 pounds to be 5'11", he's a tall guy. So he's got long legs, long limbs, and that helps a lot. He's not going to be the better striker, like I said. But he's probably going to be the slightly better grappler, and it's going to even things out. For Sergio Pettis, dude's a solid striker as well. He's a solid striker. He's the better striker. Sorry about that. He's very patient. The problem is that sometimes being patient can lead to low volume, but it helps him out because he picks his shots well. He's got good counter striking. He's got a ton of power for a guy at bantamweight. We've seen him come back in fights, being down and then landing that one shot, putting his opponent out because he picked his shots, did well, and didn't get overly concerned with losing the volume battle, knowing that he's going to land that shot. Now, that is a rough way to go because you can lose a fight waiting for your opening, but it's worked out well for him. Obviously, 23-5 on the career. He's a fantastic fighter. Jiu-jitsu-wise, he's very good off his back. He is a good grappler just in general, but off his back, he's going to look for submissions. He's going to look for the arms, particularly, whether it's Kimura, whether it's a armbar, whether it's a omoplata, whatever it may be. He's looking for that arm, and he's going to use that either to sweep and take top position or go for the sub if you give it to him. He's very good at doing that, and what he does is when he's fighting off of his back, he makes sure that he's the more active guy. So he's not letting his opponents try to set up strikes from the top or look for submissions. He's constantly making them react to what he's doing from his back. Does a good job there, but the problem is he gets taken down. His takedown defense isn't the greatest, I think because he knows that jiu-jitsu is good. Guys, I think this is a tough fight for both guys for different reasons, obviously, but I think it's Patchy Mix time. I think he's going to get this one done. I think he's going to be able to implement his game plan, and I think the physical advantages are going to be there for him. Gone are the days where he's going to fade like he did when he fought Juan Archuleta and just be able to get outpointed as the fight goes on. I think Patchy Mix took that to heart, and he's increased his cardio, and he's going to do a lot better in this matchup, and I think for that, Patchy Mix gets the win. But let me know who you have, and I will see you guys in the main event. It's now the main event. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do appreciate all of you for tuning in and sticking around this long. Here we go. Yaroslav Amosov takes on Jason Jackson for the welterweight championship here in Bellator. Both guys 5-0 in their last 5. The physical height and reach advantages are going to be on the Jackson side. He's 6'1" with a 78.5-inch reach, and he's fighting the 5'11", 75-inch reach of Amosov. In this one, we're going to break it down first with Jackson. So Jackson is a solid striker. He's got plenty of power. It's kind of knockdown power. He doesn't have that one shot, just put your lights out power, but he can knock you down. He's got good counters. His leg kicks are fantastic. The lateral movement is something that he does really well. He sticks that 1-2 while he's doing it. So solid striking. Solid wrestling as well, and I think this is probably his better attribute. He's got good takedowns, good slams, and he can get good top pressure as well and win minutes on top. His takedown defense is pretty good as well, and the pace that he puts on a guy is really tough to combat. Although, he's taking on Yaroslav Amosov, who just fought Logan Storley, beat him twice now, and that's another guy that can put on a high pace. So that bodes well for Amosov. Amosov is a solid striker as well. He's got good, clean, straight shots. He's got good lateral movement as well. The head kick is deceptive, and he's got a good lead hook. Amosov's lead hook has put a lot of guys down, dropped them onto their butt, does a good job with that. So Amosov, good striker. Grappling. This is where he's going to be probably better when he can implement his as well. So whoever gets their grappling going is probably going to have a pretty severe advantage over the other person. But he's got good front chokes. Very deadly front choke set, whether it be the Darce, the Anaconda, guillotine, I guess. All that stuff. Good scrambles. He's very difficult to hold down as well. So if Jackson does get the takedown, Amosov's going to look to scramble, create that distance. He's got good takedown defense as well, so he's hard to take down in the first place. Very, very good in there. Body lock takedowns is what he's going to go for him when he gets on top. The pressure first, then ground and pound. Yeah, guys, this is a tough fight because both guys are very skilled. The physical advantages, like I said, are on the Jackson side. Amosov's obviously 27-0 in his career, so the guy's doing something right. I've got to go with Amosov. I think he's probably one of the best, if not the best, welterweight on the planet. Yaroslav Amosov should get this one done. I think he beats Jason Jackson, similar to how he beat Logan Storley, able to just kind of outdo him in the matchup. Whether it's just from the skills, even if the pace is high from Storley, well, it's going to be the same thing from Jackson. High pace from Jackson. I think Amosov is going to be able to outskill him, and that's where I'm at. So Yaroslav Amosov is a pick. Let me know who you have, though. It's a fun main event. Bellator 301 is a fun card. We need to appreciate these Bellator cards while they last because we don't know how much longer we're going to get them. Guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.